in for a ride out through the neutral zone and still on it, hounded by Lee. Mayfield goes down for the Islanders, clutching his face.
Good job from Matt Barzal recovering that puck as Mayfield went down.
Foss scores! The overtime winner!
The Carolina Hurricanes, 2-0 series lead over the New York Islanders. Nick, why'd you play the whole clip? Because there was controversy. That's controversy for you, uneducated swine. This is interesting to see. Daily sports podcast and video, whatever, about news, narratives, takes, gambling. I'm Nick. We missed Controversial Wednesday. My cat of 19 years, well, she's been my cat for 6 years, and my wife's cat of 19 years passed away. So I wanted to take a day. So I've been working from home for 1,000 years, staring at this cat, so I needed a day out of the office. And so I went and played a legendary golf course in North Carolina, and it was a bucket lift golf course, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to take a day out of the office, and I feel a little recharged and a little hungover, and my tan is looking great. But we're back today. We have some controversy we'll talk about, just to add in there, because we missed Controversial Wednesday. But we're going to start with the controversy on this goal. If you see right here, do you remember the call? He's clutching his face. Listen.
Hey. Mayfield goes down for the Islanders, clutching his face.
So most Islanders fans would be like, that was a high sticking call. And then like seconds later, score. So the Islanders are like, we got screwed. It was overtime. And now the series is 2-0. The Islanders are the second worst team in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. And the heavy underdogs, Carolina, nobody thinks they're going to win the Stanley Cup, but they think they're going to be good. And as a result of this, Islanders fans and the Islanders are like, we got screwed. However, we have the internet. And the internet is like, was it a good no call? Watch this guy watch this entire breakdown from this guy, Mike Rupp. I don't know who the hell that guy is, but he was retweeted by Spittin' Chicklets. And who are you, Mike Rupp? Should we give credit where credit is due? Are you worth crediting? Who's Mike? Mike Rupp, 17. Studio color analyst, NHL Network, former NHLer. Oh, that's Mike Rupp. Yes. He was an okay hockey player. 80,000 followers. So sure, Mike Rupp's legit. Watch him break this down. Here we go.
Bear with me here. So a couple things here. So watch Martinook's stick.
Yep.
First off, the Martinook stick is going to be starting real.
So what he's doing is breaking down this high stick. It looked like a guy who was turning around to skate, was just flopping a stick around and just caught a guy right in the face. However,
low at the knee of Scott Mayfield. It's going to end up face high. Okay, and I'm going to show you why. When you slow
fast forward, let's go faster.
And you're actually going to see the stick bounce off of Mayfield's stick and get up.
See, this is an easy video because right now these two guys in the corner, their sticks are crossed.
In the air because Mayfield's popping his stick up. So look at this. Pops it. See that? Boom. Lifts his stick. Knocks his stick up. And now his stick blade.
So what he's saying is the guy accidentally knocked his opponent's stick into his own face. Was it a good no call? I think it turned out to be a good no call. I think it's far more likely the refs didn't see that at all, and they just didn't see the play and got lucky. But that's just because we don't give refs the benefit of the doubt on this show. We just don't. Other news in the NHL, Michael Bunting. Sean Murphy Bunting is a different Bunting. But Bunting, who's a good player for your Toronto Maple Leafs, who I think was going to win the Stanley Cup, he leveled one of the best players in the game, or I don't remember. Is it Stamkos he hit? I don't really remember. But this is a guy that was in second or third place for Rookie of the Year voting. He was a 26-year-old rookie, and now he thinks everybody hates him, and he's a bit of a tool, and he has this late hit. Let's watch. Watch it. Here it is. And just like blindside elbow to the face. He has been suspended. Sussy. I actually don't know how many games he's been sussied. 3 games. Head check on Eric Cernak. Oh, it wasn't Steven Stamkos. It was 81, not 91. Ooh. Speaking of suspensions, the Warriors are going to have to play, I think they play tonight, without Draymond Green because he got suspended for stomping on a dude's chest. Remember that? Well, it turns out he also was yelling at the crowd, and people were like, yeah, it felt like a Malice at the Palace situation. He did it with the commissioner in the building, and the crowd is like losing their minds, and like this, it felt very Malice at the Palace-y. So the Kings are going to be playing the Warriors on the, 45-minute / 4-hour commute to the other part of the Bay Area-ish, depending on traffic. And maybe they should fly there, actually. The Kings are leading 2-0, and they look good. They're just outlasting the Warriors in a lot of these games. The Kings are awesome. Congratulations. Light the beam. I didn't know this, but it turns out the light the beam shit was just something that a focus group told them would test well, and it did. I like it. Fair enough. Last night, the Heat, like, oh man, without Giannis, the Heat might get this done. They don't have Tyler Hero, but they still have Jimmy Butler. False. Fucking false. The Bucks had Giannis play for 1 minute. They then had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dudes score into double digits. 1, 2, 3 guys scored over 22 points. Brook Lopez had 25. Drew Holiday had 24. Pat Connaughton had 22. Chris Middleton, the guy that they said they needed to be the best, he just had 16. Joe Ingles. Was Joe Ingles with the Nets forever? Yeah, he had 17. Giannis Antetokounmpo down here at the bottom. 1 minute. 1. So I think they're going to be fine. That's my official take. The Bucks are going to be fine in the series. The Heat are not that good. And Eric Spoelstra is going to get fired, but when he gets fired, he'll get a job immediately. Other things, the Sun leveled things up a couple days ago against the Clippers. That would have been reported yesterday, but my cat died. My bad. Game 2 of the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies and the Lakers happened yesterday. The Grizzlies show some life. This is going to be a 7-game series. The Grizzlies are going to win, I think. And then someone... Should I find that? I'm sure it's on the internet. I'll find it here in a second. Taunting LeBron James. It was a 10-point victory for the Grizzlies. And let's see, going into the fourth quarter, it ended up being, what, a 12-point game? So the Lakers hung tough. I do think they're gonna make this a weird series. There's a chance that the Lakers end up beating the Kings in round 2, which is just, and the Lakers wait up in the conference finals, and then we have to have more conversations like, wow, is this more impressive than anything Mike did? And like, this is just never gonna fucking end. The Celtics take care of business against the Hawks, obviously. The Sixers take care of business against the Nets. They didn't look as good this time, but whatever. This is survive in advance, no injuries. That's all that matters. The Cavs and the Knicks played a game of basketball, and it looked for a moment like there might be some dirty play. This is from April 18th. Let's watch it. Oh, replay.
Derrick Rose is on the bench for the Knicks, right? You and I called that playoff game when they were up.
Was it just someone going hard? This is a Bush League or guy going hard. I don't know what the prevailing sentiment is online. Let's see. What do people think? We're scrolling. Went for the block. Real question is, why is Randall in the game down 23 with 2 minutes left? That's a good point. 100% Bush League. Love it. Let's get into some good old-fashioned sports fights as Elon Musk ruins all of our lives with artificial intelligence. The 49ers, third overall pick, Trey Lance, and apparently they are open to moving him in favor of Brock Purdy, LOL. They spent 3 first-round picks, including one of their own, to move up to get Trey Lance third overall after Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence. That makes me laugh. Justin Fields was also in that draft, and so was Mac Jones. Trevor Lawrence went first overall, and he is awesome. And now nobody knows. Trey Lance was supposed to start this entire year, but broke his leg, and then I don't really know where his rehab is at, but he's in the 4th year, right? Is it year 4? It's year 3. So at the end of this year, he's eligible to negotiate, and then all of the fun parts of his career where he's cheap are over. He has played essentially no football in the last 3 years. He played 1 year prior to COVID, and then he played 1 game during COVID, which is bananas. How did he not transfer to a school that was playing football? The stupidity. Then they drafted him third overall because he's a freakazoid, very much like Josh Allen-y, Justin Herbert. Can run a ton. He's much faster than those guys and has an enormous arm. He played at North Dakota State. He played big boy football. We have to go under center and hand it off. The Niners are apparently trading him. They like Brock Purdy in the future. Kyle Shanahan sees himself as the quarterback. He does not want his players to make plays. He wants to play Madden. And so he needs a quarterback that does what he tells him to. And there are rumors that have been afoot for a long time that they wanted Mac Jones because he's like the best quarterback ever at doing what you tell him to do instead of like something cool. And then they got bullied by the internet into taking Trey Lance because he had more talent. And they didn't really want him. And now they're starting the literally Mr. Irrelevant, the last man drafted, Brock Purdy, who is yet to lose a game that he starts and finishes healthy, I think. Is that true? I think so. I don't think that they're going to stick with him long term. They're just going to keep doing this cheap quarterback, run the plays I call guy thing. So teams rumored to be trading for him. The teams that they think that might be the most interested. Why refresh Twitter? I don't ask you to refresh. Texans and Lions are the ones that people like, which makes sense because they could draft this guy or that guy. And like, I guess I had heard that people might like a 2nd-round pick might do it, which yikes. But I don't mind the strategy from San Francisco. We'll be plenty of time to talk about that. NFL draft coming up. Should we preview tonight's games because there's playoffs? God, haven't been in the mood for playoffs because my cat died. Have I mentioned that? Today, the Sixers are going to Brooklyn. The Kings are going to, was it San Francisco or Oakland or wherever the Warriors play. The new arena is in San Francisco, I believe. Yes. And then also the Suns are playing the Clippers. Suns, even their series, that was only a matter of time. Suns are a kind of team that need to lose occasionally. They're just not good enough to just like crush people. They just need a couple losses. The Nuggets are taking care of business. We can just fast forward on them. They're the number 1 seed in the West and number 2 overall seed, I think. I don't really think it matters until the finals, of course. Should we do some controversy? I saved some controversy from Controversy on Wednesday for you guys because my cat died. Did I mention that? So, couple things. Brian Davis, an alleged billionaire and alumnus of Duke University, has apparently offered a $7 billion cash offer for the Washington Commanders from Dan Snyder. Because Dan Snyder, remember, was going to sell the team to Josh Harris, the guy that owns the Sixers and the Devils. But then this guy, Brian Davis, was going to do it. He wants to own the Commanders. Now, Brian Davis tried to buy the Timberwolves a long time ago, said he had all this money, then they was like, yeah, let's go with that. And then all of a sudden he didn't have all that money. Here's Sean Merriman, a former All-Pro linebacker. All-Pro? I think he's All-Pro linebacker for the San Diego Chargers, said Brian Davis owns a ton of us money. He's like a known fraudster and douchebag. However, there's more to this story. Report, funding for Brian Davis's Commanders all-cash bid could be coming from Saudi Arabia. What's that guy's name? Ben Salman? I don't remember his name. If former Duke NBA player Brian Davis has cobbled together $7 billion in cash, where is it coming from? Because he doesn't have it. According to AJ Perez of frontofficesports.com, the source of the funds originated from the Middle East. Whew. That, we're like, how is Dan Snyder going to fuck us? Well, they're not going to do it. The owners have to approve it. You can't just buy a sports team. They have to approve you. And they can kick you out for any reason they want. They literally can kick one of their own out. They won't do that because that sets a precedent of like, maybe I can get kicked out. But they literally can kick anyone out. They have to approve everything that happens. It's a league. They have basically a 32-person or 32 organization union of billionaires, and they just decide what happens. And the Packers are run by like a trust fund or some sort of hedge fund or some shit. So they can just be like, oh, we don't want Saudi money here. Buy, try someone else, and then they can force Dan to sell, and then they can kind of. I think that they have the authority to pick the buyer for him. I think this could get really, really ugly. Anyway, Washington used to be a great franchise, allegedly. The National Basketball Association every year does a player poll where they anonymously ask players questions about their peers. The obvious, interesting one is who would you least like to see in a fight? And I've been tooting this horn for many, many years. I was born and raised in Wyoming. For those of you who don't know, James Johnson, graduate of Cheyenne East High School, was a black belt in karate. There were rumors that people broke into his house once, and he has like 8 brothers and sisters, and they just like almost killed these guys. He became a black belt in karate in high school, where he was also the best football player I've ever seen with my own eyes, and probably would have been an all-pro in the NFL. I'm not making this up. He is the reason I am not scared of war with Russia or China. He was the heavy, heavy favorite person you don't want to see in a fight. Not Steven Adams, of course, the New Zealander, and I don't want to fake it, but he's got a lot of, is it Maori? I think he's Maori, is the indigenous people of New Zealand. Scary dude. He's the big dude with the delts that always plays for some team like in the Mid-South, like Memphis or Oklahoma City. I think he's on Oklahoma or Memphis now. He's number 2, but yeah, no question, James Johnson is the scariest person in professional sports. And Aaron Donald, no, he would obliterate Aaron Donald. It would not be a fight. Like Aaron Donald does for training the shit that James Johnson was a literal professional level at 16 years old. Do not come at me. But there are other questions in this poll that are fascinating. Who's the greatest player of all time? LeBron James, making some headway, I believe. 53% said Michael Jordan, 33% said LeBron James, 6.8% said Kobe Bryant. 0% got the answer correct because it's actually either Wilt Chamberlain or Oscar Robertson. Don't at me. Most underrated player, Drew Holiday, is a defender for the Bucks. That's amazing. Most overrated player, mean motherfucking question. That is holy shit. You can't answer that. This is your peers. Well, they all voted for Trey Young, the point guard for the Atlanta Hawks, and he does look really shitty against Boston. I'll tell you that. Which arena has the worst fans? Charlotte. Which arena has the best fans? Boston. Played golf with some Boston boys yesterday. They were pretty nice. Which current coach, aside from your own, would you most want to play for? Greg Popovich, then Steve Kerr, then Eric Spoelstra. Yeah, I mean, those are the best. Spoelstra is great. I think he's the best coach in the NBA, just my personal opinion. Which coach aside from your own would you least want to play for? Tom Thibodeau. He just runs his players into the ground and then they eke out a bunch of wins. I think right now he coaches the Cavs. He's always got a team in the playoffs. Well, they can make a run. Like, no, dude, he killed them during the regular season. They have no gas left in the tank, and these pro athletes are like, God, I want to kill myself. Which player talks the most trash on the court? Draymond Green of the Warriors, Patrick Beverley. Does he play for the Timberwolves or the Clippers now? I don't remember. Hold on. Patrick Beverley. American professional basketball player. I think he was on the Wolves last year. Oh, Bulls. I knew he played for a team that was like, he's always a guy that finds himself in the play-in game because he's not good enough to drag a team to the actual playoffs. He is, however, good enough to talk a bunch of shit. The poll is really great. Who's the MVP? Of course, the players unanimously believe, not unanimously, I made that up. 50% of those who responded said Joel Embiid. 25% said Jokic. 15% said Giannis. Other interesting questions. This is from The Athletic, by the way. The Athletic does this. Who's the best? Wait, I want to know, starting a player from scratch. This is the one that is actually, this means that the best player in the NBA. You're building a roster from scratch. Who are you going to sign first? Giannis Antetokounmpo got 52% of the vote, which is wild because the gap between number two was like 40%. Number two was Nikola Jokic at 8.6%, then Doncic, then Steph Curry, then Joel Embiid, then Jason Tatum, then other than LeBron. Nobody. And I think that for one playoff run, I'd rather have Giannis than LeBron or MJ or any of those guys. Like that Bucks run against the Suns, and he beat all those guys, and Durant. I mean, amazing. I don't care. Get at me. I think that Giannis in a vacuum for one playoff run, I'd rather have him than Jordan. I just would. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I'm back, better than ever. Kind of R.I.P. my cat Bella. She was old. It was her time. But I'm back. Playoffs are raging on. I was going to do NFL draft, and we literally didn't have time to get to it. We'll do some gambling previews tomorrow. The secret is out. The Panthers are not taking C.J. Stroud. Apparently, they're taking Bryce Young, which is going to be a big hezzy hey for everybody. Now everyone's losing their minds. We'll talk about it. See you tomorrow.